both parties will unmute, and you're unmuted, and raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury? Ms. Suggs?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
All right, and then I see you have a witness. Any witnesses are going to need to be out of earshot in another room until they are called, okay? So, ma'am, when you are called, I will swear you in if he calls you as a witness.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point, I will start with the petitioner. Ma'am, can you please tell me how you know Mr. Wyatt?
He's my ex-husband.
And around when were y'all divorced?
April 2016.
All right. And do y'all have a child together?
2 children, 2 boys, 15 and 7.
And where did they reside up until the recent order was issued?
I have full physical custody.
And what do you have full physical custody under?
Under our divorce decree, I have full physical custody and we have joint legal custody.
All right. And where is that divorce order out of?
DeKalb County.
All right.
It's on the documentation as well.
Okay. And where are you living in DeKalb County now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when is the last time the two of you lived in the same residence?
2016.
Okay. So what?
Oh, no. Wait, we tried to reconcile in 2021.
All right.
July 2021.
Okay. And has anything been filed in your family court case, or have there been any criminal charges coming out of the allegations in these petitions?
Yes, ma'am. He has a warrant and the order is 23025739.
When you say a warrant, what is that for?
Child abuse, domestic violence. He got 2 counts of child abuse and 1 count of domestic violence on myself.
And did the police take out those warrants?
Yes, ma'am.
But you don't know that if he's been arrested for that yet?
No, ma'am. They let me know. As a matter of fact, they emailed me back today and let me know that the warrants have been issued. Just the arrest hasn't been made.
So did they come out to one of the incidents that you've alleged in your petition?
Yes, ma'am. And they also saw the video.
All right. Okay. And have you filed anything in the family court case in regards to any modification?
No, ma'am. I was waiting on this to get handled, and then that's my next proceeding because I have to get a lawyer for that.
Okay. And knowing that the basis of this is not just for custody modification, but for prevention narrowly of family violence as an extreme temporary intervention, tell me why you recently filed this petition and why you feel like you need this petition going forward.
Yes, ma'am. On I got the exact date. My 15-year-old son, Jaleel Wyatt, and I were assaulted by Mr. Wyatt.
Okay, and I'm going to need you to give me details, circumstances, describe for me how that came to happen.
Yes, ma'am. Usually when they're old enough now, so I allow my children just to walk outside of the door. I don't say anything to their dad. I let them walk out the door. And when my son came out, he had a case of water. And my other son had a bag with sheets because the 2 weeks prior, my son broke out. His whole face was broken out and his neck and everything was broken out. So he said it was due to the sheets. I'm thinking it's due to the dog that they have, the pit bull that they have in their garage. This is the second time my youngest son broke out and hid.
Okay. So
I
I'm
gave
just
him
saying
sheets.
this is a little extra, like parenting issues or circumstances. That's kind of not the family violence. So I'm going to need you to kind of narrow in on the day that this happened. It sounds like there was an exchange taking place. Was he picking up the kids?
Yes, on his weekend.
At
Yes,
your
ma'am.
house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So what happened?
When the kids walk out, I closed the door and I was talking to my cousin, and I checked the camera because I didn't hear his truck pull off. So when I checked the camera, I saw my son running. He was running, trying to get away from his dad. His dad kicked his leg out to try to trip him, and he ran in the neighbor's yard to get away from him. Then I went to the front window to check and see what was happening. From the front window, I saw him punching him in the chest. And that's when I went outside to go help my son and save my son. When I tried to stop him, I even told my son to get in the car. He grabbed him and was cursing at him the whole time and told him, Jalil, you better not fucking move.
Okay, so what happened when you came out?
When I came out, I came to him and I was like, I told him, get off of him. He didn't get off of him. And then he told him, don't fucking move. And then when I tried to grab him to get him off of him, he body slammed me on the concrete. I have pictures. I put that in as evidence. I have pictures of my bruises. I didn't get pictures of my son because he was over there for that weekend. So when he got back, if he had any bruises or anything, he didn't have anything when he got back.
Okay, so did you submit those items into evidence?
Yes, ma'am. The video, the pictures, and the text message that he sent me laughing about the event afterwards.
All right. So, Madam Clerk, can you see, do you know what they are labeled as, ma'am, and which one you would like me to pull up first?
The ring video. And then the text message is labeled as P1. That's it right there. That's my son in the white shirt.
Hey, you ain't gonna take this shit out on me. Fuck you, nigga. You ain't gonna take this shit out on me.
You mad. You mad. You want me to be his fucking dad, then let me be his fucking dad. Let me be his fucking dad. Let me be his fucking dad. You ain't his fucking daddy. You ain't his damn daddy.
Why the fuck you trying to
Get in
beat
the
on
truck.
him?
I ain't beating on him. I'm his daddy. I know how to goddamn handle my boy.
Now the fuck you
Yes, I damn do.
If
Just
you
'cause
did,
you do
you
this.
shut the fuck up.
Bitch, I got a fucking work. Cause you get the fucking child support from me, motherfucker. Get in the truck, Jamil.
All this shit on camera.
All right. The next piece of evidence, would you like her to pull up?
P1.
All right, and what is this that we're looking at?
Those are the text messages from him and myself.
All right, can we go to the next page?
I'm in green.
All right, and the next page. Okay. Is there anything else you would like us to look at?
P2. Those are the bruises that I had the next day.
All right.
And the last document is a document from Jalil's, his counselor.
Okay, before we pull that up, just tell me what that says and why you're offering it.
Yes, ma'am. He diagnosed Jalil with PTSD due to the trauma from his father.
Okay,
And they're placing Jalil on hospital homebound so he can finish out the school year, and also placing him up under a 504.
all right.
And that he keeps thinking that that's my counselor. That's not my counselor. That's the juvenile counselor with the state.
Okay. And that's the 15-year-old, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I don't need to pull that up just because you're not filing on his behalf. You're filing, and I'll decide if I issue an order, I'll decide any custody and visitation.
Yes, ma'am.
But your understanding is that your child, the trauma, when you say from his father, from that incident or from before a series of incidents?
A series of incidents. Before this event even happened, his counselor was about to report him for abuse because my son told him that his dad beats him up. And he asked him, Jalil, do you mean corporal punishment? He said, no, my dad beats me up. And I was wondering why when my son got in trouble, he did not want me to tell his dad, but legally I was bound to tell him. So I still had to tell him. I didn't know he was getting abused like that.
All right, has he ever been violent with you in the past?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give me any examples?
He sexually assaulted me.
Okay, when and how and under what circumstances?
This was in, my son was born in 2008, so this was in 2009.
Okay, and this is were y'all married at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how did that come to happen?
I said no, and he kept going.
Okay. Had he ever been violent with you in any other way?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give me any examples?
We'll fight all the time over abuse and stuff. Him cheating and stuff like that.
And when
Before we got married.
Okay.
I mean, before we got divorced.
All right. Did any of those ever become physical?
Yes, ma'am.
And how would that happen?
We would just fight.
And what would that look like?
Him slamming me down on the ground like he did now.
All right. Okay, are you asking the court to extend this order for 12 months?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you, do you feel like you need this order going forward to protect yourself for the next 12 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So sir, at this point, I will give you, and let me make sure, ma'am, do you have any witnesses or anything that you want to call?
My children were witnesses, but I don't feel like they've been through enough.
Okay, all right. Okay, so sir, at this point, you can unmute. Do you have any specific questions about what she testified to that you would like me to ask her? Or are you just want to let the court know what you would like me to know?
Your Honor, I'm in complete shock, and I literally at a loss for words. I have no idea what she's talking about in 2009 for a sexual assault. I don't know what she's talking about because that's not my character. We've never been in a physical altercation before. That's our first time ever in a physical altercation. And I would like to address the elephant in the room for what initiated this, because I'm literally about to lose my voice because I don't even know. Oh, I gotta calm down. Sorry, y'all. My son, our oldest son, has been going through some things in which we don't know where it's coming from. I do not beat my child, Your Honor. Oh my God.
Well, you saw the video. I mean, obviously something happened there.
My son was being disciplined. My son is a 15-year-old young man. He was being disciplined. I did not beat my son up. Yeah, I raised my voice and had a few curse words at him, but that don't happen. I did not beat my son up, Your Honor.
So I did see some shoves to the punches to the chest, but you're calling that discipline.
They were not punches. They were open hand slaps to his arm. I did not punch him.
Okay.
And as I'm disciplining him, she rushed outside. I didn't even acknowledge her. When I told her to please step from behind me, I turned around and she assaulted me first. I tried to block the punch and she failed. I'm not finna hit on her. She the mother of my kids. I've never assaulted her before.
So I saw her laying on the ground and you yelling on top of her on the ground.
Actually asked her to stop swinging at me. She's steady swinging at me. I'm trying to stand up. I want to let her up, but she's continuing to swing at me. I've never been an abusive dad. I can't be that person. I have no history of that. Mashandra does things to trigger me, to get under my skin. She sent me a video of her in home with another man having sex while my kids are home. Why would you send that video to me? Why do you want me to have that? Why don't you want us to have split custody? I have to work, Your Honor. I have to work double hard at everything that I do to pay her the child support and also help take care of the home that I'm in now with my fiance. My kids are well taken care of over here. Over there, my oldest son, he doesn't get to live like a teenager. He has no TV in his room. He doesn't get to be a 15-year-old. He didn't get to do all that because he takes his things and gives them to his little brother. How do you think that makes him feel? He's doing things at school. He's lashing out at school. I wanted to discipline my son so that he can understand the consequences of his actions. Because the road that he's going down, my son is going to end up in jail. I do not want that for my son. I don't want that for anybody. My kids come over here every other weekend. I pick up my kids every other weekend faithfully. I don't know what my son told the therapist. I don't know why he would tell the therapist that I beat him up. No, that never happens. The day of the incident, she sent an officer out here for a wellness check, in which I knew nothing about until he showed up. He checked my son.
Nothing happened. There was nothing wrong with my son. I'm not finna beat my child up. But I feel like as a father, I do have the right to discipline him. And as far as a warrant goes, she assaulted me first. I don't want to see anything happen to her. I don't want to see anything happen to her, but she assaulted me. I can't let her, I can't allow her to hit me. She's not a small woman. So I blocked her punch and she fell as she was falling. I don't want her to fall. I'm falling with her, trying to catch her from falling. My witness, she's here with my kids when I'm at work. She sees the type of father I am with my kids for the past 5 years. I have to work extra hard, and she sees that. Their mother knows that. She don't work. She wants me to show up to every award set. I can't be at everyone. Why? If you feel like I'm such a danger to you and our kids, why am I the first person you call? You invited a man to live in your home from another state that you never met in person before to live with you. You called me to make sure he was out of the house. I don't know if he touched my son. I don't know what he did to my son. But right now, my son has been hospitalized because he said he want to kill himself. He think he gay. There's nothing wrong with that, but my son never spoke like that before. Her mother died. I was the first person she called to cry to. I can no longer be her friend. And that's what all this boils down to, because she sent me a video last year of her having sex with another man. And I told her I can no longer be your friend no more. I'm sorry. With that, I don't know if my kids were home, but I can only assume they were, because after that, my oldest son is now getting in trouble for touching girls at school.
Okay, so I'm going to say we're getting outside the realm of whether you have committed family violence against her at this time, okay?
Yes.
All right. So these are things, ultimate long-term co-parenting issues and child, whether a guardian ad litem or something like that is needed, that can be addressed in any divorce case, family court case. But right now I'm at whether, and I saw the video, I'm going to be honest, that was violent. And I heard a lot of anger there as well in the yelling that accompanied the violence. Okay. So anything else you want me to know, or does your witness, does she have any evidence about whether there's been any violence?
Yes, I was angry because we literally talked to my oldest son about his actions at school literally a weekend ago before that incident happened. And he goes to school and does the same thing. There was an incident that I went to pick up my kids, and my fiance came over with, she came after I was there because I was there to pick up the kids. And we walked inside to have a drink, and Mashandra pulled a knife on me in front of her.
Okay. When was this?
This was 2021, but me being the man, I didn't think nothing of it. I'm not finna call the police on you about that.
Does she have any information on whether you've committed any? Is there anything you want me to hear from your witness?
Yes, just my whole testimony.
Well, she has a testimony only about what she has seen or witnessed. Was she there on the day in the video?
She wasn't there, but
Okay.
Mashonda saw the video to see the video, and she was here at home when I arrived.
Okay, so she can't testify about what happened in the video, but she can testify about what she may or may not know about any family violence acts you may or may not have committed against the petitioner.
Right.
Okay, so would you like me to hear from her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can go ahead and bring her in and I'll swear her in.
Okay. Baby. This don't make no sense.
All right, good afternoon, ma'am. Could you please raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you tell me, do you have any personal knowledge of any acts of violence committed by the respondent against the petitioner?
The respondent, that would be Alonzo, correct? And the petitioner is her.
Yes.
No, not in the last 5 or 6 years I've been knowing him. He's never did anything to her. The only thing that has been done in front of me was the other way around. We was at her house and we was standing in the kitchen and they were joking about something. And then she grabbed the knife and put it up to him.
And when was that?
That was early 2021.
Okay. All right, anything else?
And then as far as the kids, like I said, I have a 16-year-old myself that lives with us. And the kids come over here every other weekend. They've been doing that for the last 5 or 6 years. No kid in this house is going to get hit. Not even mine. No kid is getting hit in this house. I don't do whippings. They're not getting hit. The first time I've ever seen the anger of Alonzo was on that video. And that's why me and him Monday went to the VA for him to talk to a social worker to figure out what anger triggered him that much to act like that in that video. I've seen poor co-parenting skills from both of them. And I've talking to both of them before about how they need to co-parent. I'd never seen them at this extent in the last 5 or 6 years that I've been with him.
Okay.
And I was also the one that answered when the officer came for the wellness check.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, nothing was found.
Okay. All right. Ma'am, do you have a question you would like me to ask her specifically about what she testified to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if I threatened him in 2021, why have you and I been friends? And also, we were friends as well. Me and Alonzo were friends as well. If I threatened him that bad in my home.
Okay. So I'll ask if that was a serious threat regarding the knife those years ago. Her question is, why did y'all remain friends?
One, we're not friends. Two, again, like I said, they were joking. They was doing some joking in her kitchen. I didn't say that it was serious. I said they were joking in her kitchen and she picked up a knife.
Okay. Anything else you would like me to ask her?
Also, she said my kids don't get beaten at her house. I have documentation from a counselor that my kids get beaten at her house.
Okay.
Again, I didn't even know that my child was getting beat like this. He told his therapist.
Okay, so that's going to be pretty much outside the scope of this because I'm looking at acts of family violence. That may be true and that may be handled in a different forum.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm looking at is acts of family violence by him against you at this time. Okay.
Okay. What about it doesn't pertain to the kid?
Well, the custody may end up being addressed that way, but you did not file on their behalfs. So violence towards the kids that you were not present for is not necessarily going to be part of my determination about family violence against you.
Mm-hmm.
Custody and visitation of the kids, if an order is issued, will be addressed by me again on a temporary basis until there is a longer term solution in the family court. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other questions for her?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I like to say I'm at the best point in my life right now as far as employment. I'm literally just now recovering, like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago from the divorce, from everything that I lost and trying to recoup from the divorce. It was hard. And right now I am at the best place in my relationship, my employment. I don't want to start over, Your Honor. I don't want to be arrested, because if I'm arrested, I'm going to lose this job.
So let me tell you this first, that I don't have anything to do with the arrest. This is separate. That's a separate criminal case, different form, different judges. What I'm looking at is wait a minute, let me speak. What I'm looking at is whether there have been acts of family violence, and without this order going forward, any continuing interaction between the parties, whether an order of family violence is necessary to prevent future acts. Okay. So I don't have any control over the criminal case in this setting.
Okay.
All right. So that's a whole different thing.
I have another question. So there can be a warrant filed for my arrest and I not know anything about it?
I would encourage you to reach out to an attorney and you can speak with them about the system and any advice they may have for you or how to find out anything for you. Okay. But I can't, that's not before me. I know she testified that it was reported to the police and they may have issued a warrant. I don't know. Okay. All right. So anything else at this time from Mr. Wyatt?
Not at the moment.
All right. Anything else?
Just want to see my kids, Your Honor.
I hear you, and I hear you. Ms. Suggs?
My concern, if my ex-husband did this to my children, because my 7-year-old was there too, in broad daylight in front of my house, what are they going through behind closed doors?
Okay.
That's my
Again,
concern.
hold on. So this is not a full-on custody hearing, that sort of thing. Issues about parental fitness, all of that will be addressed either if there are criminal charges in a criminal case, the charges of involving the children, or in the family court case, long-term custody. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Right now I'm looking at just violence against you. Yes, sir.
Ma'am.
Did you have a question for me?
No, you just, never mind, Your Honor. You nipped it
I
in the
answered
bud.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here, I appreciate everyone being as civil as possible during this very difficult situation. I got to tell you that video, I understand you were trying to discipline the children, but there is a legal definition of corporal punishment, and that may have been well outside of it. Additionally, the level of anger I heard and saw, and the force towards the petitioner, I do find that there have been acts of family violence, and the way things are right now with the parties and the level of volatility, that there is a likelihood of future acts at this point with nothing else being in place without this order being issued. So this is a temporary order, but I am going to issue this order. Okay. It's going to be in effect now through April 19th of 2024, when it will expire. I am going to award I'm going to award temporary custody of the children to the petitioner. And I will allow at this point, and this can be moved for modification down the road, depending on what happens in the family court case and what happens with the parties and where they're at. But for this time, it will be supervised visitation at Nia's place in Decatur. Okay. If the parties can comply with that, that gives the court more faith that the children are in a more comfortable setting and things will go forward in a safer way. So once both parties have registered and completed orientation by May 1st at Nia's place, that they will arrange that supervised visitation to begin. The respondent will be ordered to attend the Family Violence Intervention Program, which will be the first virtual date will be May 12th of 2023. And the compliance officer will get with you in just a moment to give you the information on how to get started on those courses, which could be very helpful in this situation. Also, while this order is in effect, you are not allowed to possess a firearm under federal law. Okay, so that's the court's order. I hope things get better going forward. And you should get a copy of the order. If you don't have a copy of the order by the end of the day tomorrow, please reach out to the clerk's office and they can get you one. So, sir, we will place you in a breakout room with the compliance officer.